described by ancient Chinese writers. Thunder and lightning are common natural phenomena, but the ball lightning that astonishes scientists is rare. Lightning is ball-shaped, has strange changing colors, and is sometimes very slow. It likes to chase the wind, float, and roll with nature. When it hits an obstacle, it usually explodes with a loud noise and then silently disappears instantly. China is one of the first countries in the world to record UFO phenomena. There are too many records in the vast ancient Chinese books that cannot be explained by astronomical knowledge and general common sense. Anyone who firmly denies the existence of UFOs will be stupefied when confronted with these historical records. As early as 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, folk legends such as flying cars existed. Later, red dragons, jars, bows, and other UFO descriptions or records, similar to those of modern eyewitnesses, emerged, such as Zhuangzi Shi Pian, the imperially compiled comprehensive mirror, 24 histories, classic of mountains and seas, etc. For more details, please refer to the Ming Tong Jian of 1621. On the 22nd of February, the first year of the Tianqi reign of Emperor Shizong of the Ming Dynasty, several suns appeared simultaneously in Liaoyang, surrounded by a halo. There were halos on both sides, and a white rainbow covered the sky. There were several suns in the sky, and what was even more interesting was the description of ears on the left and right, which clearly indicated that the shape of this luminous body was like the familiar disc-shaped UFO with a bulge in the middle. In addition, many local chronicles also contain extremely rich and detailed records of these strange stories and phenomena. On the 17th day of the 7th month of the year Dingzhu, a scholar from Yangzhou was reading that night when he suddenly saw a light as bright as day on the northern wall. Thinking his neighbor had been careless, he ran out to see what was happening. He saw a red ball in the sky, as large as a wheel, radiating brilliant light, flowing through the clouds. A faint sound was heard, and the remaining light lasted for 3/4 of an hour before fading. The next day, loud noises were heard throughout the city, and everyone saw the same thing. That night, the light on Qinubianche Lake was even brighter, as if heading directly from south to northwest. Later, there was no further confirmation. On the 16th of July, in the city of Suzhou, a fiery beam the size of a wheel was observed, moving from east to west. It was like a shooting star or a flash of lightning, with a rumbling sound. All the residents outside saw it. The previous 2 paragraphs describe UFOs vividly and realistically. They are as large as wheels, luminous and noisy, with loud noises flying from south to northwest or east to west at speeds as fast as shooting stars and lightning. There are many witnesses, and everyone in the city sees the same thing. The locations where they appear are near Yangzhou, which is exactly the same as the Pearl of Yangzhou, described by Shen Kuo and Su Dongpo's torchlight night encounter. Su Dongpo, a great poet of the Song dynasty, once gave a wonderful description in a poem. On his way to Hangzhou to assume his post, Su visited Jinshan Temple at night. The moon was dark and the stars were scarce. when suddenly a ball of fire lit up in the river and lingered for a long time. Su was deeply puzzled by the strange sight, so he recorded this eternal wonder in his poem, Visiting Jinshan Temple. At that time, the moon on the river was just beginning to take shape. In the second watch, the moon set and the sky darkened. There seemed to be a bright torch in the center of the river, and the flying flames illuminated the mountains, frightening the birds. I returned home disappointed, not knowing what was happening. It was neither a ghost nor a human, so what could it be? Such a vivid description is a prime example. Shen Kuo, a famous natural scientist of the Northern Song Dynasty, also used geological theory to explain the UFO phenomenon in a very vivid way. In his Mengshi Bitan, an incident involving unidentified luminous objects is narrated. When Lu Zhongfu was in Wuzhong, he woke up before dawn and saw a light shining under the wall. He looked at it, and it seemed to be moving in the water. He quickly used an oil paper fan to pick it up, and the object rippled on the fan like mercury, and the light flickered. When he held a candle to it, he saw nothing at all. The great masters of the state of Wei also often saw this object. Li Tuan Lianping once told me that it was exactly the same as what Zhongfu saw, so he didn't know what it was. It is also recounted that the house of the eunuch Li Shunju was hit by a storm. As he entered the west hall of the temple, lightning and fire shot out from the window and spread across the eaves. People thought the main hall had caught fire, so everyone ran to avoid it. When the thunder stopped, the house was intact, but the walls and window film were black. There was a wooden box where various utensils were kept, and all the silver melted and spilled onto the floor. The lacquerware didn't burn. There was a precious sword made of extremely hard steel, which melted in the sword room, but the room remained intact. Shen Kuo described the entire process of the thunder in detail. It entered and exited the sky. Everyone thought the house was on fire and fled in panic. But after the lightning and thunder, the house didn't catch fire. Everything was intact except for the walls and window film, which were blackened. What was puzzling was that the wooden furniture in the house, as well as the utensils and miscellaneous objects on the wooden shelves, were intact. The flammable lacquerware didn't burn in the electric fire. On the contrary, the silver ornaments embedded in the lacquerware did burn, and the juice melted into the ground. The hard steel sword also melted like water. What's surprising is that in ancient times, scabbards were generally made of bamboo, wood, and leather, but the scabbard is still intact, which is truly strange. The strange phenomenon above puzzled Shen Kuo and the people of that time. Why did this ball lightning exist? Where does the strange energy of the fireball come from? What on earth is this? To this day, scientists have been unable to provide a precise and satisfactory explanation for these strange phenomena, making it an unsolved case in history. Shen Kuo was a very serious scholar, and what he said was solid, vivid, and detailed. Despite this, Shen Kuo didn't jump to conclusions about what that light was. However, in recent years, after seeing this record in dream pool essays, some astrophysicists boldly speculated that it could be a visit from a UFO from outer space. If true, this would be the oldest written record of UFOs made by humans. In December 1985, Zhenjiang held an academic seminar to commemorate the 890th anniversary of Shen Kuo's death. Shi Feizong, then director of the Institute of Natural History of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, mentioned in his keynote address, Article 369 of Mengshi Bitan has been observed and is believed to be evidence of UFOs landing on Earth in ancient times. On the 28th day of the 9th month of the 18th year of the reign of Emperor Guangxu, 1892, a crowd gathered on Zhuge Bridge near the Confucius Temple in Nanjing, Jiangsu Province, to watch a fiery ball streak across the sky. The Qing dynasty scene was captured by painter Wu Yuru, whose red flame soaring in the sky is the first illustrated account of a UFO incident in China. The work has become a valuable historical document for UFO researchers. A translation of the painting's 190 character description reads as follows. At 8 p.m. on the 28th of September, a bright red object suddenly appeared in the sky over the southern city of Nanjing. Its shape resembled that of a gigantic egg, and it was moving slowly eastward. The object was clearly visible in the night sky. Hundreds of civilians stood on Red Sparrow Bridge, pushing their way to get a good view, standing on tiptoe and craning their necks upward. It remained there for the duration of a meal, slowly disappearing into the distance. Some said it was a meteor, but a meteor takes only an instant to disappear, whereas the motion of this ball from its first appearance in the nearby sky to its final disappearance in the distance was fairly constant. Therefore, it couldn't have been a meteor. Others said it was a lantern kite. The children were flying, but the wind was blowing north that night, while the object was heading east. So it couldn't have been a lantern kite either. For a while, everyone talked, but no one could solve the mystery. None of the theories made sense. An old man commented, "At first, a faint, almost imperceptible noise was heard, like the whizzing of men approaching at full speed through the south gate. The sound was so soft that most people wouldn't have noticed it." He added that the object rose into the sky from the southern outskirts of the city. It was so strange. My name is Jose Antonio Galan, and this account has been taken from the Hong Kong Wenwei Po. Its author is Yao Laoging.